Hey fellers, welcome back. It is a Sunday evening, we have new pivot levels, and things are looking really good, in my opinion. I made a bit of a modification to my Fibonacci lines. I don't know if I should keep it. I'm just basically recoloring things is how I'm gonna practically use it. I'm gonna use top and bottom line white color and dotted lines, right, like this, because I typically do use that for support and resistance levels either way if I ever do come across one. And great, I'm accidentally moving stuff. The fact that I am accidentally moving stuff makes me want to change the colors so that I know what each level means. And I'm going to do that by coloring them a different color, but not making them that apparent. I'm going to be making them a little transparent, right? And to do that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. I don't know, give me 5 random colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could that work? I don't really want to go for rainbow, but I might have to. Red specifically, I don't think would match well. I'm going to stay away from red and green since we already have those on the drawings of the charts. So that leaves us with 1, 2, not those, 3, 4, 5. It looks too girly. I don't know. I'm going to try yellow. You know what? I don't know, red looks too dark. Yeah, whatever. I'll stick with this. I'll do lime green. I'll do like cyan blue instead. Never mind. Dark blue and then purple, I guess. Before we reach the last line. That's going to be kind of how my new Fibonacci lines will be drawn. Hope you enjoy it. And I'll agree, I'll have to make it a little brighter. I'll probably do 50% on all of them. I know this might not seem entertaining, but I want to improve how my charts look. And I want to be unique about it. So that's my reasoning. And don't worry, we do have a lot of news. I'm not trying to kill time. We got some stuff to talk about, so we will get to that. Lock this in place. Does that look okay? I'm looking at my feed, my live stream. Yeah, that looks alright. Or does it? I don't know. What if I went yellow, orange, yellow, orange? I don't know. What do you think? Maybe I'll do red. Red at the bottom and red at the almost the top. No, I'll do green at the top. How does that look? It's alright. It's kind of just to help me determine where I'm, you know, where it's dangerous, where it's kind of neutral, right? I guess the yellows are fine. Neutral as an orange color, I'd probably use blue instead. I think that looks fine. That way I could determine where's the half point of a Fibonacci line, where's the danger zone, or, you know, for overbought or oversold conditions. All based on Fibonacci sequences, where we're looking for resistances and stuff like that. So, in that sense, I think it looks better. But then it still seems a little too dark. I don't even know. I'll do 75%. One could argue I should have done this before. I think that looks a little better. No, I don't think it does. I'm already regretting all of this, because I had everything at blue lines before. Whatever. We're not here to talk about that anyway. We are crashing. Bitcoin 114,987. We were 115,000 flat just a couple seconds ago. It's fine. Seems like indices are going to be starting off toward the downside, which I don't mind. I would be more concerned if we were rising at this hour, because of a potential CME gap, which if Monday continues to be bullish, we would have to eventually go back and fill that CME gap. One of the fears I was talking about yesterday, which I don't fully believe in, but the possibility is there nonetheless. Our uptrend invalidates at 113,400. I was hoping this would rise to about 114,000 maybe. But we do have some good lines converging right over here in terms of our Fibonacci and pivot. The new pivot level is at 114,186, further reinforcing the idea that we'll have 114,000 as a support level. And of course, most crucial support level would be at 112,000, 111 and change. It's where I have my entry price, so I am not concerned at all if we do drop to that level, which we shouldn't. Lowest point should be 114. Maybe we'll see 113 something hundreds. But ultimately we should bounce and continue with the uptrend. The fear or doubt of what's going to be happening, it has to do with the rate cuts that we'll be getting on Wednesday. You would be telling me, but rate cuts are good, aren't they? And I would respond, yeah, they are good. The thing is that they're already priced into the markets, right? Markets are not going to wait until Wednesday to start pumping. The pumping would have already started ages ago when we had the sentiment from economic data that we would be likely getting 3 rate cuts this year. The fear now comes on whether or not Jerome Powell sees what we see, and if he mentions the possibility of 3 rate cuts for this year as we are determining it. And also if he does indeed cut the rates on this upcoming meeting, which we are expecting him to. And usually he falls in line with our expectations. So nothing too concerning there. It's bothering me. I will draw 2 red lines and then 2 green lines. Can I go brighter? I can go brighter. I think I will go brighter. Half line will be yellow, kind of. And these can be light red. Does that even look good? Not really. You can still kind of determine it. I like that instead. A brighter color. Okay, anyways, back to this. So yeah, that's what I would be expecting from rate cuts. We do have more opinions about it and more news articles to talk about, which we'll get to when we get to our news section. This drop, I don't even know. If you don't have any exposition on Bitcoin, you could consider an entry here. Possibly. Although I would still recommend against it. You should have already been in it from before, like I have. And, of course, worst case scenario, if we do drop to 112,000, that would be an area where even I would consider putting in more if needed. But I probably won't because I already have my entry price right there either way. I'm not going to buy Bitcoin at these levels again because it's already above my entry price. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. If you're, increasing your average price by buying higher and, increasing the weight where if the asset suddenly goes against you, you're going to need a lot more capital to drag that average price lower. So I tend to avoid it. I tend to stay patient with it. And, I'll keep myself calm. Won't FOMO into the markets here. Everything else is still in the green. Took profits on my meme coins already. Sonic is kind of coming back down. It's the only one that is red. I entered another position on it today, so we'll discuss that. Let's just discuss it now. I mentioned we were on a good rise, but we were going to slow down at this downtrend over here, which we did. We came back down, broke through a pivot level, which happens to be right at my entry price. My new entry price, because my new purchase happened at around 30, right over here, 30.47. Current price is 30.39, so I wouldn't expect to drop. I'm hoping actually we do break this downtrend. I mean, this uptrend. very, very short-term one. Yes, it is pretty shallow, so there's probably not going to be that much ease in breaking it. But if we do, it should take us down to this level over here where I have another order pending, which I will probably, based off of this new support level that we have, I'll re-average out the price. Might even push it higher. I don't even know. Maybe I'll divide it. Because I'm very bullish on Sonic. I want a lot of exposition into it as much as I can. And I'm not going to be scared. What, you think Sonic is going to drop to... What do I get liquidated at? 20? That's never going to happen. Right? So that's what my plan is here. If we do continue dropping break this, I'll start considering entries around this area. And then I do have another one down over here, which... I don't know, do we even keep this here anymore? I have this level drawn because of the low point and averaged from one of the support pivot levels, I'm pretty sure. I could probably look at historical levels. Yeah, so support 2 stayed exactly the same. Support 1 kind of came up a little, so that's why I'm going to change my entry for the first one at 29. It's going to be a little higher than 29.08, so I'm going to calculate that in a second. But in terms of support 2, like, that's still exactly in the same place, in my opinion. So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll drag it a little higher. Because I don't want to miss it. I really don't want to miss it. And if we do have a drop before Wednesday, because that can happen, the uncertainty of people are like, oh, what is Jerome Powell going to say this time? Yeah, you're gonna expect some volatility this week. So people want to stay out of it. People don't want to expose themselves to it. They'd rather wait for the news to blow over before they decide entering, which would be a wise move, but you're missing out on the gains, man, the gains. So I want to be part of it. All right, let's average this out. I'm going to first close this 1175 to 1675. That means I had 500 entry in there. 0.2917 plus 0.2907 divided by 2. So 0.2912. My previous one was 0.2908, I think. Said 500. Really, 500. What did I just put earlier? Trade history. Oh, great. I'm gonna have to do more math here. 4916.97 times 0.3047. That's all. That was already 500. So I'm putting 750 in this one then, because I want more weight to happen. And plus, it's a pretty low level that I'm expecting it to drop to, 29. Right? I'm expecting this super trend to be invalidated, which honestly I don't even know if I want to do this. I could probably divide it in half, like do 500 close to here, and then another 500 the place where I want to put it either way, 2912. I think I will do that, just to split it up. Because what if one of them doesn't get filled? Yep, I think I'll do that. So there's the first order. And the second order. See, this is what I mean by this line that I drew here. Any supports or resistance levels, I will use a white dashed line. That's why I wanted to like rebrand my Fibonacci line, because there we already have the white dashed line. And then I'll use this as well for the resistance, the high that we reached over here. I'm not getting a lot of info from this. Other than we can drop to here. 29.89. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, I'll do it. You know what? 29.90. Because market likes to do that thing with the... Oh, you missed a 0.01. Haha, we're not going to fill your order, so... To avoid that, I almost put 5,000. What am I doing? Yeah, this should be fine. 500 there. Might put another 500 here. Might. Hard might. But I think I'm safe with this one over here. It's probably one of the more unlikely ones to get filled, 29.12. But anything is possible in this market, so I will leave that there. One could argue I could enter right now, but this is a very, very short-term Fibonacci looking for bounces, so could easily be broken. A lot of these were just immediately broken without any consideration for their feelings, so, you know, doesn't always have to pay attention to it, but nonetheless, I'd like to use it as a reference because this line kind of does make sense. Looking back, we bounced around this area twice over here, and huge rejection on this candle where we had to recover immediately to here from where the candle opened and closed, right? So I'm confident in that level, 29.90. Also pretty below 0.30, right? Which would be breaking a psychological level, so that's one thing to consider. I'll have that there. And this is in USDT, so I have a couple more USDT if I really want to put more. I'm not too concerned with it. I can always save this position. I'll have enough to cover for it. But I have faith in the project nonetheless, long term, so I'm expecting a decent return from it. Starting to put more on that. Moving on, Ethereum 4,589, already on its way back down. This was looking for resistances specifically, which we broke through all of these and slowed down at this high. Was this level 4,768 approximately. Just gonna delete that for now, I think. Did I do this right before? Like, why do I not have exposition into Ethereum? I could have used this line for entry. Seems like I just ignored it. I don't know, I'll have to go back to my old videos to watch or something. But from here, I mean, I wouldn't be too concerned on, oh, where's the drop gonna be to? Because this is a very minuscule time frame to be looking at. Just focus on pivot level. If you really care about a support on Ethereum, that's 4,540. And our resistance would be 4,810. Then our 2021 all-time high, the 5,000. Our actual all-time high. What happens to the 5,000? Why do you do that? Can I just undo? I don't want to type it. There we go. Oh, okay. What's our actual all-time high? It's this line right here. So then, yeah, I would need this Fibonacci line that I had drawn before to where we bottomed out. This would be looking for resistance levels. So we kind of bounced off of the second last one. We're looking for the final, which is indeed our all-time high, 4,956 for Ethereum. I mean, I guess one could argue we are exactly on an important level right now, halfway through the Fibonacci line. I'd focus more on the pivot, though, for this week. Moving on, Solana having a great run, kind of calming down a little. 249 was ultimately its high, almost 250, so that means 250 is a resistance, whether you like it or not. Please let me write. Thank you. 250. What is this Fibonacci line from? Oh, yeah. Also looking for resistances here, and yes, 250 indeed was that resistance. One of the final ones before we can hit our actual all-time high. So I'm just going to replace that Fibonacci line with the new one that I have. I'll go to daily chart because I cannot hit this exact candle. There we go. Yeah, that looks better. So that's what we got for Solana. 250. Break out of that. All-time high is our next level. I'm loving these pivot resistances. These are monthly ones, though. So these are accurately predicting what we should be looking at. If we do break 300 Solana, by the way, look at 330 next. Just by the way. Good. Moving on. Man, I could have been making so much more with Solana, but stop loss just had to get hit, huh? XRP already erasing most of its gains. Incredible. $3.01 right now. I do have exposition in it, but whatever. $3 would be a good support, which I'm confident we can bounce off of. If not, like worst case scenario, I don't know, maybe 295 due to the uptrend that we have here. So like movement like that wouldn't really surprise me if Monday ends up being a bearish day. Still optimistic overall about XRP, especially in the long term. We should be fine. Don't worry about it. So we kind of coming back down as well. We hit a high of 388. Very, very close to this resistance. Interesting. We're heading back down to support level 361. Almost 362 or 3... What is this? Yeah, 62, 363 approximately there is our support. Current price is 365. That's not bad. Nothing much else to say with it. Slow day. I mean, this Sunday has been erasing most of the gains. So, yeah. Cardano about to bounce off of this uptrend as well. So it's important to see how it behaves at the 87-cent mark to continue higher. If not, pay really close attention to 85. Because that's going to be the defining area on whether or not Cardano continues its uptrend. And if Monday does end up being a bearish day and we break this little uptrend, don't be too concerned. Like I said, just focus more on the 385. That should be the support for it, hopefully. Because we do have this uptrend that is supporting us from a very long time. So that's the one most people would really be paying attention to. This one is like a short-term thing, like, I don't know, 5-minute chart price action if you care at all. People would be paying attention to something like that. But us, specifically, no. Because RSI can become oversold. It's on its way down. So something like that can happen and we could expect the bounce to be around this area, like I said. I drew this like 5 times, but you get the point. We'll see what happens. World Liberty Financial erasing all the gains as well. 7% down today. What will I do with this token? I don't know. I was feeling the FOMO. And now I'm not part of it anymore. I think I will drop like 250s just here and there. I have the money to do so. Why not, right? It's not going to be a big order either way. Just 250 on market price. I'll do it now. Although I shouldn't. Our lowest point was 16. That's like the most significant support. Yeah, if we do approach like these levels, then I'll start dropping thousands. For now, I could play with 250. It's volatile enough where 250 will get me a decent return. Like an extra 100 or 200. If this does move like another 10% in some other day. It could go south as well. I could lose it. But you're liquidated at 14. Almost 14, right? 1390. That's pretty unlikely to happen. And if it does get close to that area, I will have enough orders here maybe to try to save that position. Not really save it, but like lower my average price significantly. So I'm not too concerned with it. It's showing us that we do have a downtrend, but I wouldn't pay much attention to this chart specifically. If you do care about history and everything, you'd look at the USDT chart, which is in an uptrend. And something better to look at. What is this? Oh yeah, I could delete that. So that's why you see that random Fibonacci there, by the way, on my USDC chart, because I basically copied the same levels that we're seeing here. 2027. Would that be the entry? Probably. Things are looking a little down, so even if we do get a bit more of a decay, fine. If this happens, it happens. 2027, we're dropping 250. Confirm. Enjoy. Alright. Excellent. Moving on. USDC for Chainlink, we have dropped all the way back down to our pivot level 24, basically. 24 cents and 24 and 2 cents, I mean, is the current price. Pivot is 23.89. Clearly a good support over here. If you don't got exposition to Chainlink, you could consider DCAing for a possible bounce like that. I've already been DCAing, so I'm not going to ruin my average entry by purchasing at a higher price. If Chainlink does drop below my entry price, I don't think these orders are any valid. I was already looking for, like, fib extension here, which... I don't know, I should probably retract that for now. If we end up breaking this structure and coming back down again, I'll have to reconsider. But these are my entries, which seem very unlikely for Chainlink now. Now that Chainlink has proven to the world that it is very strong and that the US will be using them for their economic data publishing, they're a big deal now. So people realize how powerful Oracle plays are, so... Yep. Where do I enter? 15 is as a low. Yeah. I think I'll draw something like this. That tells us that my entry price is a support. And I have this next entry a little too far below, which I might have to consider bumping it up. Either that, or I extend this further. Which is what I think I had last time and why I have these where they are. Yeah, that's why I have these where they are. I think this one makes more sense. We'll probably pay more attention to this instead. Yeah, I think these entries, looking back, they look like they're at reasonable areas. I'll leave them there for now then. And Stellar also erasing a lot of its gains, coming back down to a critical, not a critical support, but just a support in general. Critical support would be 37,37373. We're at 388 right now. 385 is the pivot and support level, 385, 386. So we're using that to kind of, you know, stick the landing a little. But if Monday is a bearish day, you could expect it at 3737 before we can start bouncing up again. I will not be touching anything on Stellar. My average entry is basically there already, so... And I'm pretty overexposed in Stellar, so I wouldn't increase my position, wouldn't touch it at all, just gonna leave it there when I'm expecting something like this to happen. And also hopefully RSI does something similar with this. That's all for these. Aptos. I really wish Aptos drops. I kind of want to increase my exposition a lot more on Aptos. And if I was to do that, where would I do it? What do I do? Trying to think, will I even have enough funds, like the source, in order to cover myself if this all goes south? The answer is probably yes. But nonetheless, I want to play it safe, and what do I even do here? I kind of shot myself in the foot by putting too little at great prices. Should have put a little more, but I was expecting a harder drop. Like, you could still see some of my orders did not get filled a little lower down here. But realistically speaking, have we ever hit that low in normal days? Not really. It's only been catastrophic days. June 22nd, World War III fears, and August 2nd, we just crashed for no reason. Fear of tariffs reinitiating, I think. What was our lowest point on April 7? Was it this? Oh, that is pathetic. 387? We hit lower than that on World War III fears. That's crazy. Yeah. I guess I might. If we go to like 434, around this area, I'll probably be dropping a little bit more. Because it's close to my entry price and I just want to increase the exposition that I have into Aptos. What do I have in here? I'm going to cancel this order. That was 1,000. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably do it. 435. What's my total exposition in here? Basically 1,000. So that'll average out. If I put this in here, 428 to 435, what's the average between those? Like 432? No, it's totally wrong. 431 or something. Which, that's not a bad average entry price either way. And if it continues going lower, like I'll gladly drop a lot more. It shouldn't be an issue. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll drop this here. Is that going to be a big difference if I put 435.35? No, not really. Because I want this to get filled. And I'll drop the 1,000 here. There's my little modification to Aptos, just to increase exposition if we do drop to there. But because I did this, now markets are going to rally tomorrow, and I did not get this order filled. That's just how the markets work. But it's fine. It'll benefit me nonetheless. Ave, how are you doing? Basically, also showing weakness here. Bounced off of my entry price, but we're still in the green. We did slightly become a little red over here at some point throughout the day, which is a little concerning, but it's not too bad. Underwhelming movement from Ave, honestly. I don't know. I'll keep this entry here, should I? I'm seeing a good support right there. Actually, if I delete this, and if I pay attention to this, if I'm looking for supports, also just an excuse to draw a new Fibonacci line that I created. Is that correct? Oh, well, that doesn't make any sense at all, but nonetheless, you see a support here. How much is this? Wait, how much do I have in here, first of all? About 1,250. Why? One was probably 500, the other one was 750. This could be 1,000, then. Doesn't bother me. Yeah, I'll start putting more. I need my calculator again. Alright, let's do this. So, 291.89. Hello, Duality, welcome. 291.48. What's that? There's your entry. And we're dropping... do I really want to do 1,000? Yeah, I do. Alright, there we go. If it continues to drop on Monday, that will get filled, will bounce up, we will be happy. I hope. That is all for these. Well, last one is, I guess, Litecoin, which I have no more interest in touching either. I don't want to increase my exposition in here. I don't want to put any more trigger orders. And if I do have any, I don't. They will be deleted, but no need to worry about that. We bounced off the 120 resistance and immediately came back down, bouncing off of this uptrend, meaning that 113 was a safe spot. Kind of coming back up a little bit now. Current price is 115 for Litecoin, if you care. That is all for this. Great, excellent. Okay, now let's talk about the news that we've got to cover, specifically about what's going to happen with the rate cuts. To start us off, the Trump administration will be moving forward with the push to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook. This is probably a good thing, or probably a bad thing, depending on your stance on the Fed. Good thing for the average crypto trader like you and I, because Lisa Cook, something, she did mortgage fraud or whatever. She's going to get kicked out. Probably wasn't in favor of cutting rates, none of that stuff. And even if she was, who cares? She's a fraudster. And she will be replaced by somebody appointed by Trump, who is more likely to do what Trump says or wants the Fed to do in terms of cutting rates. He's going to put somebody in charge that will be in favor of cutting rates, which is what Trump wants. Trump wants those rates cuts really bad, like significantly lower, a whole 3% lower, which is an absurd amount, but it would moon everything. It would be great, but it would also probably destabilize the economy because it would allow mass inflation, which, I don't know, maybe we do need that stimulus in the country, or it's up to him. We're not really up to him, it's up to Jerome Powell at the end of the day. Jerome Powell's term ends early next year, so that's when we can expect things to pick up once again after everybody's taken their profits from this this crypto rally, right? We're expecting to top out this bull cycle by the end of this year, so pay a lot of attention to that if you want good exposition to a lot of gains. the alts are where you want to be. If you want something safe, Bitcoin is where you want to be. Because not alts will explode. And I talked about some cases like Polkadot, which there is an update on Polkadot, meaning that I will have to take back what I said. Polkadot got to me. They watch my streams, they're like, oh, we're going to do exactly what Matthew is proposing. So, good, I'm glad that they listened. But we'll get to Polkadot later. First, talking about the interest rate cuts. Peter Schiff, who we know is like the Michael Saylor to gold, if that makes sense. Yeah. He thinks the Fed is about to make a major policy mistake by cutting interest rates into rising inflation. You cut rates, it allows for more inflation. That's why the Fed is looking at economic data to make sure that there is no inflation. That would give them the green light to go ahead and cut rates, which Trump has always been posting practically every time we have gotten economic data. There is virtually no inflation. Cut the rates now. Too late, Jerome Powell. And, you know, he just bully Powell into trying to cut the rates. But this time, it's gonna happen for real. And Peter Schiff is somehow not happy about it. Ironic, you should be happy about it. If you want gold to go up, rate cuts are a good thing. Gold is already at all-time highs in anticipation for the rate cuts to happen. Anyways, he said that gold and silver have broken out, with the rally finally confirmed by mining stocks leading the way. Yet instead of breaking out, Bitcoin is topping out. He's calling us out. He's very anti-Bitcoin. He's more pro-physical gold than digital gold, right? So there's that going on for him. He's saying it's time to change horses, hodlers, hold on for dear lifers. So everybody disagrees. Of course, you underestimate Bitcoin. It's not losing any levels. He's just saying, like, if gold is at all-time highs, why isn't Bitcoin at all-time highs? Why is Bitcoin struggling to break past 117,000, right? A level that I kind of pointed out as well, where we would slow down ultimately. We had a high of 116, a high 116,000, 116,775. Which, that's also one thing that I have been pointing out. We were looking at, like, the odds of us seeing any rate cuts from the Fed. They were pretty good, right? We were expecting 2 rate cuts earlier last month. And that had Bitcoin rising to all-time highs, 124,000, with those expectations in mind. Then we started getting more economic data and, you know, just... what even happened? We were just talking about Russia, Ukraine, whether that's going to get resolved or not, and they found the excuse to make Bitcoin drop all the way down to 107,000. Okay, fine. But we had dovish comments from Powell about the possibility of rate cuts, which should have brought us back up to all-time highs. And now, after the non-farm payroll data, CPI and PPI inflation data, we basically have a confirmation that, yeah, we're getting a rate cut, and we could expect, you know, 3 in total for this year. That is something fresh that we haven't seen since basically the beginning of this year, since January, February, before we started crashing because of tariffs, and it messed up all of our projections for the year, right? And I mean, 3 rate cuts, the market should be more than celebrating that. We should be even higher than our all-time highs. But we're not. And that is one thing that Peter Schiff is pointing out. He's like, what is going on here? It seems like you gotta come into gold. Gold is where it's at. But it's like, no, I don't think so. In anticipation of inappropriate rate cuts, he also says, even the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are hitting new record highs. Gold is hitting a new record high. Silver mining stocks, they're breaking out. But while investors bought both risk assets and safe havens, they're selling Bitcoin. What's going on, Bitcoiners? Doesn't this worry you? No, it doesn't worry us at all. And as long as Bitcoin stays down here, I think whether you have it or not, it's still a good idea to buy. Not financial advice, but you get the point. Here's another post. Well, that's just addressing the Peter Schiff thing. Okay, moving on. Here's another post about rate cuts, talking about they are generally bearish in the short term. This is because the Fed usually cuts rates when the economy is in some turmoil. Just take a look at the US stock indices after 3 months of the first rate cut. The S&P 500 was flat, Nasdaq was barely positive, Russell 1000 and Russell 2000 were down 4 to 4.6%. That's basically like small businesses, right? That doesn't mean the crypto market will be bearish for the next 2 to 3 months, though. Usually crypto bottoms before the US stocks do. And this time, it would be the same. Meaning that we could see some short-term volatility even after a rate cut, because it's going to take a while for those funds to, the money printed to take effect, for all that money to flow into risk assets again. But I think it's going to be quick. Me personally, I think it's going to be fast. Because why should we be dropping? What's the bad news? Tell me some bad news that's going on. War? Okay, who cares? I mean, a lot of people should care because people are dying. But yeah, other than that, what else you got? What's the bad news? Really nothing. Tariffs? Oh, that's they're already resolving stuff, and we're far past it. We got news to tariffs. Okay, cool. What's next? Come on, hit me. I don't see the bad news. We should be much higher. Alt season should be coming soon. So even if, it's a sell the news event, which I think it might be, I'm hoping that whatever Powell projects for the future, plus just general optimism, the fact that gold is already at all-time highs and, NASDAQ, S&P 500 are also at all-time highs. Sure, they can have their drop down and people will be like, okay, well, what's the next hot thing? And that is probably when it's Bitcoin's time to shine. I think crypto will steal the spotlight of traditional assets, stocks, and commodities, right? It's our turn. It has to be. Q4 2025, we're expecting it to be bullish. They say, another thing, bearish factor, people say historically September is a bad month. Yeah, they said that last year too. And we were very, very low with Bitcoin. And it's like, how much lower can we go in September? You can't. And you just have to recover. And we did, and we ended September in the green. Same exact thing is happening this month. We started it at 107, 108,000, maybe a little higher, whatever. Where are we right now? 115. We were at 116 a couple days ago, about to break 117,000. We were so low that a bounce was just necessary, and we're about to end this month green. Now, I know I'm probably speaking a little too soon since we're halfway through the month of September, but I mean, what really is the downside? Come on. That's my perspective on all of that. September is going to be the Uptober. Yeah, December is going to be banana zones. Yeah, I agree with that. There we go. What else we got? Michael Saylor. Bitcoin deserves credit. Whenever he posts this chart, he is going to be buying Bitcoin the next day. And he usually does this on a Sunday, which means Monday he purchases more Bitcoin. So expect a post tomorrow from Michael Saylor purchasing millions of dollars worth. I hope, at least. The message wasn't really clear on that, but I'm sure it all conveys the same thing. Did you know that locals in Iran are turning to Bitcoin and crypto amidst a collapsing rial and US sanctions? The rial is down more than 90% since 2018. So the Iranian currency is losing its value significantly. People are now turning to Bitcoin because they want freedom for their money, something that opposes inflation. When you get hyperinflation, you get your coin devaluing 90% in just, how many years ago was 2018? 8 years? 8 years? No, 7 years. As you can tell, I'm like really good at math. It's a recurring theme throughout this whole channel's history. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying. What is this? Is this a photo or a post? This is a photo. This is the post. Staking coins is a trap if it involves an unlocking period or any wait time, which most do. I have done that. I was actually, okay, I'll tell you a story here. In 2021, I was staking Terra Luna, which was a great asset at that time. I think it was in like the top 5, top 4 coins in the market cap. At least top 10. It was up there, right? It was doing really well. They released their stablecoin, US Terra, UST, right? It was going super good. Everybody loved Do Kwon. And then, well, not and then, but like they were also offering a big staking reward, right? An annual return of like, I think it was It was either 100% or 20% or maybe 120%. It was something around there. If you used some company called Anchor, I think, A something. It started with an A. This is many years ago. Okay, forgive me. This happened last cycle. And I was like, okay, if I stake it on my crypto.com app, for example, I lock it up for 3 months. I'm not allowed to buy or sell, and I get a portion of that back. And I'm like, yeah, I'm bullish on UST. We're at all-time highs, and I'm just going to put my money in there because, yes, I was up in profit. I was making a good, like, $4,000, which when I was starting, that was probably one of the most I was ever making in crypto. And I'm like, wow, I should probably sell, but I couldn't because it was being staked. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. I'll sell it later, and it'll be higher later. What happened later is UST, since it's an algorithmic stablecoin that only uses the native token Terra Luna as its collateral, well, there was some fault in the system where you have to burn one to mint one, kind of relationship between the two. And the fact that US Terra suddenly started losing tokens, losing its dollar value. It's supposed to be worth $1 all the time. That's just what a stable coin is. But it started losing its value. And it's like, oh, people started noticing. What is going on with US Terra? Why is it 90 cents? Why is it 80 cents? 75? Should I buy a stable coin? Like, is this a good investment? That's a guaranteed return if it's supposed to rise back up to $1, because that's where it belongs. Everybody's like, oh yeah, this is great. They're gonna fix it eventually. It's a great opportunity to buy. But then they halted trading. And then they started noticing the amount of supply in Terra Luna started increasing significantly because they had to create more tokens that would burn the stable coins. You create more Terra Luna coins to burn the stable coin. Burning the stable coin is supposed to increase the stable coin in value. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to increase it back up to $1. But to do that, they have to sacrifice the price of Terra Luna by creating more Terra Luna coins. And that just hyperinflated the whole supply, and it devalued Terra Luna from being worth like $400 to not even being worth a penny. And I was looking at this crash live, and I'm like, oh, it's dropping so much. My favorite coin. I'm going to throw $200. Oh, another $500. It'll go back up. How much lower can it go? I never seen a coin go from 400 to not even a penny. And we were at like $5, $2, $1. And then Do Kwon, after saying, oh yeah, hold steady, folks, was one of his famous quotes, or steady lads, I think it was. Steady lads, I got this under control. I'm going to fix it. We were like, yeah, he's going to fix it soon. And he didn't. And then it was the whole project collapsed, basically, because of a faulty algorithmic stablecoin. And I couldn't take out my Terra Luna coins because they were being staked. After the lockup ended, maybe a month or two later or something, I was like, yay, all the $4,000 that I had in profit is now, I don't know, $15. It was something crazy like that. So yeah, I lost all my money in Terra Luna, and I was like, cool, screw this crypto stuff, I'm going back to my normal job. And how my mentality has changed since then. You don't give up after losing a lot of money. You go back for more, because that's how you get it back. That feels like such casino way of thinking, I don't know, but it's true. Like, you shouldn't give up after losing money. You learn from your mistakes, first of all. That is the most important thing. Don't commit that kind of stuff again. And then you go back into it a little bit more cautiously. You start picking up the pace again, and you eventually recovered. I've far recovered whatever I've lost so far. And knock on wood, it won't happen again. I'm studying every day. I'm doing this every day. Trying to stay informed as much as I can to avoid making mistakes like that. So, yep, that's where I'm at. So, all of that was to say, I highly recommend against staking if you want to be able to exit your position once the altcoin bubble pops later in the bull run. Especially right now. If you're going to be locking it up for 3 months, I hate to be the breaker of bad news, but you're going to miss the alt season. You're going to need those tokens to not be locked up so that you can sell them to make your profits. You're going to make more profits in an alt season than you will by staking. Staking is something you do if you plan to hold on to that coin for a very long time. It's something that I did last year, for example. I mentioned crypto.com, right? Their Chronos native token, this was like 2024, and Chronos was super low. So I saw it, I was like, you know what? I'm expecting 2025 to be the big year. I'm going to lock it up for 1 year, get a 10% return. It was stupid because how much did I put? I put like, I think I locked up $1,000 and I only got $100 back. Like, I could have made $100 with $1,000 in a week or two doing what I do here, right? So it was really stupid, but either way, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing nothing with these Chronos tokens. I'll lock them up for a year. The year has already passed. Chronos tokens are unlocked for me, and with the partnership that Trump had with Chronos, DJT, Trump Media Technology, and Chronos, their partnership made Chronos skyrocket in price. I took my profits there. Obviously, it was more profits than what I had made from staking, but it was, in the end, worth it. It was an extra $100, and I had to lock it up for that 1 year. It's fine, it's whatever, but there's better options to staking. But if you do plan on holding something on spot for long term, for example, Bitcoin, maybe even Ethereum or Solana, arguably, sure, I would understand. But still, there's quicker, faster, easier ways to lose that money. You do that in the futures market. So, there. Don't be tempted by staking gains. It's a trap. You will be the one left holding the bag while everyone else exits who didn't stake. All right. And it's getting dangerous as well because I showed this post yesterday about Ethereum exit queue spiking as 2.6 million Ethereum will now wait 45 days to unstake. People are rushing to unstake their Ethereum because they know that the bull market cycle top is coming soon. Alt season is coming soon in the next few months. So they want to have their tokens not locked up so that they can sell for a big profit. They're planning this beforehand, and this is something one must pay attention to. If you have any staked Ethereum and you plan to take profits this bull run, I'd recommend you start the unstaking process. The unstaking queue is currently 45 days, and that number will continue to increase. This figure will likely increase, I just said that, as the bull run euphoria intensifies in the late stage, as laggards realize they have to unstake. Don't be a laggard, I guess. Furthermore, this actually may assist in propelling the ETH price higher, as a percentage of the space may outright miss the profit-taking zone due to being stuck in the unstaking queue. I've always said staking is dangerous. It chases pennies in front of freight trains. See the post below. Yeah. I agree 100%, million percent. That's why I don't stake anything anymore at this point. I have nothing like in the spot market. Everything is in futures trading. Every dollar that you don't have in futures trading is a dollar that will never grow. That's my perspective on it. But you gotta always have cash on the side nonetheless to take advantage of very good dips. And you'll know when those good dips happen. When everybody's scared, that's when you buy. Ethereum is on track for its strongest Q3 ever in history, and it'll only get better in Q4, I'm sure. Actually, it's Ethereum, so who knows. It's looking historically strong, but it's not a lock momentum. It's not a lock. Momentum's real, but so is the volatility. The bullish crossover on MACD, scream rebound potential, while institutional bids and DeFi dominance keep sentiment hot. We'll see. We'll see Ethereum. Surprise me this cycle. I want to see it. I know 5K plus for sure, but people are calling for like 10K and 15K, and you got Tom Lee calling for 43,000. You're expecting Ethereum to pass the market cap of Bitcoin with that kind of a claim, which, no thank you. I don't think that's ever going to happen. It will, eventually, I'm sure, very far in the future, but this bull run, next bull run, probably not. Real-world asset tokens are growing exponentially on Binance Chain. In 2025 alone, I didn't know about this one, Circle launched USYC, which is yield-bearing treasuries. Cool. If you don't know Circle, they make the USDC coin, the coin that we all trade with, the stable coin. And they also have a yield coin, I guess, where you would get something in return for treasuries, right? Securitize and VanEck introduced VBill, its tokenized US treasuries as well. Ondo Financed and BactFi and X stocks bring tokenized treasuries, equities, and structured assets to Binance Chain. And there are more developments to come. What is this? Here's the tokenization platforms, the financial assets that exist, RWA stablecoins, art, precious metals, alternative assets, DeFi, analytics, infra, if you care. Now's the time. For Polkadot, cap the dot. I'm looking at what Litecoin is saying. They did it finally. I talked about Polkadot just yesterday, I'm pretty sure, and I was trashing it because of their max supply and their high APY in specifically staking. Ironically, we were just talking about staking, but yeah, they have currently, it's not updated yet, infinite max supply, and if I look at the market caps, it's a big struggle for us to reach a market cap of 53 billion. What was the amount of tokens? Okay, I'm going to explain it like this. The amount of tokens in 2021 was a lot less than the tokens we have today. The supply has just been increasing a lot. So for us to have a $52 billion market cap, we're going to have to fill the amount of tokens that are currently in circulation, which a lot of those tokens were not in circulation back then. Meaning that the price will not go as high as it was back then. We're not going to see Polkadot at $53. Not this cycle. This cycle, I'll give you $10 if you're lucky. 20. So that's the big issue with it, is that it's got an infinitely large supply, and the percentages you get is like very high. 10%, 11%. Those are really good, right? For staking, for people that really care. That's the issue though, is that you're just minting all these Polkadot coins and it's just getting released into the ecosystem, and it's brutal. It's brutal for the price. It suppresses it significantly. There's too much in circulation. There's not enough demand to offset the supply and make the price rise. So it's stuck at the bottom basically. It looks like a meme coin if you zoom out like that. So today, 1.6 billion dots exists. There are 120 million dots that are minted each year. That just gets added to the supply, and there's no cap on the supply. They just filed or passed referendum 1710 on the Wish for Change track, with 81% of the votes in favor of putting a cap on the market's supply. So the cap goes, we're at 1.6 billion dots right now. They're going to have 2.1 billion Polkadots maximum on the market. The new dot issuance will step down every 2 years on Pi Day, March 14, meaning that the amount of Polkadots that get released will be less every time. This should hopefully bring things back. It's going to take a while though, because there's still a big difference between 1.6 billion and 2.1 billion. And yeah, I mean, they're doing this for lower emissions, scarcity, that kind of stuff. By 2040, the supply will not even reach the full market cap. By 2040, guys, you're looking at 1.91 billion versus what would be at the current inflation rate, 3.4 billion. Sure, by 2040, it wouldn't be as bad. But you're still, I mean, it would, I guess it would be a good thing. Because even though it's 1.91 billion, and if Polkadot does become popular enough, you know, the price would have a good impact on it. Because it's divided the market cap by 1 billion tokens versus dividing the market cap by 3 billion tokens, which would decrease the price significantly more. So scarcity, predictability, long-term alignment. Do you think a hard cap makes DOT stronger? I do. I agree. I applaud Polkadot for doing this. I feel like they did the right thing. I never was informed about this governance vote nonetheless, but they passed it. The proposal to cap the supply at 2.1 billion tokens, 81% people were in favor. This replaces the current uncapped model that we talk about, 120 million minted each year, and it reduces emissions by stepping down new DOT issuance every 2 years. It mirrors Bitcoin's scarcity playbook. It's like a halving event, right? Stepping down the DOT issuance every 2 years. It's like every 2 years, Polkadot will have its little halving thing, right? The amount of dots that get issued will be less. Same like Bitcoin. Every 4 years, we have our halving event where the amount of Bitcoin mined gets rewarded in half, right? You get the point. That's why it mirrors Bitcoin's scarcity playbook. While inflation hawks cheer, me included, watch how reduced emissions impact staking incentives. That's going to be one thing, is that these numbers you're seeing here, the APY, it's going to take a hit. It's not going to be as large, which will upset some people. The main reason people stake Polkadot is because of the high yield, and also them expecting for the price to be, if not the same, maybe higher than, I mean, if not higher, then at least the same than when they started staking, which at this current rate, it's not looking good, right? But with this new governance vote, I mean, people who have been staking at these low prices, they could see a good return. Bold governance flex, but execution risks remain. Ribbit. What's with the ribbit? Why? Anyway. This might be true. $2 trillion Amazon is looking for a crypto ecosystem lead. Posted $500,000 a year job offer. Bitcoin is taking over everything. Okay. So they're looking for a team member in the Amazon company that will lead the crypto ecosystem. Maybe Amazon starts accepting crypto for payments. Maybe they start doing a treasury. Maybe. We'll see what they do. What is Jeff Bezos planning? I think that's all. Yeah, that's all I got for crypto news. Wow, I have overstayed my welcome, haven't I? I'll just criticize the Canadian government for the last couple of minutes on my stream. This was just announced. It was too funny to not talk about. I mean, it's not even that funny. It's just, I don't know, maybe sad. A futile attempt at trying to save the country. Government of Canada under Mark Carney has focused on bringing down housing costs to help Canadians find homes they can afford. That's propaganda. It's not true. Don't pay attention to the first sentence. I'll be the judge of that. Today, Prime Minister Carney launched Build Canada Homes, a new federal agency that will build affordable housing at scale. Okay, well, what does it involve? $13 billion is what will be spent on this. Build Canada Homes aims to build only 4,000 housing units, and it's on federal land. People are saying, oh, it's in Brampton, it's going to be garbage houses. I'm looking for this. If you do the math here, okay, they said $13 billion will be spent to build 4,000 houses. And they're probably not even going to be that great, to be honest. I don't know. That's just me speculating. But if you do the math here, that means they're spending $3.25 million per home. What, you expect us to pay that much per home? Or, like, where's the profit in this? Maybe they get it through the property taxes. But, does it really cost $3.25 million to build a house in Canada? Let me look this up. How much does it cost on average to build a home in Canada? It says it only costs from $200,000 to over $1 million. What? So what's with the $13 billion? I guess maybe to pay wages or whatever. Are we sure? Is this accurate? I would suppose it's probably more. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a housing expert. That's what they're talking about there. So, I don't know. Sketchy stuff. Our deficit as well is an issue. Canada's deficit last year was $61.9 billion. Cool. Carney said that he's predicting that this year's deficit will be even higher. Awesome. We're just getting worse. And he's blaming Trump and saying that taking on this massive debt will somehow make life more affordable for Canadians. You're adding $13 billion to this and expecting this number to already be worse. What is going on? People are saying he's already worse than Justin Trudeau. You're waking up yet? You got what you voted for, didn't you? Carney admits that this year's budget deficit will be substantial and much bigger than last year's deficit. Yep. So, terrible. Middle class relief, we only got a 75-cent tax cut. We made your life most affordable in your lifetime, and Orange Man bad. That's basically what's going on here. Mark Carney announces that skilled trade workers across Canada will pay taxes so the government can subsidize CABN modular home factories in Ontario. What is CABN? Was it not the housing? No, never mind. Modular homes, which I heard are trash, that will eliminate the need for skilled trades jobs that currently build traditional new homes across Canada. So that further just reinforces the idea of why do we need $13 billion if we're not even going to pay workers to do it? We're just going to have 3D printed homes that will, you know, get moldy and wear off in like 20 years or something. Literally this. Okay, wow. Modular homes that will likely not last 20 to 30 years due to mold, foundation problems, and potentially hazardous material used during construction. So you could end up with a 30-year mortgage on a home that is not even livable and can't be resold within 20 years. Awesome. It's looking great. And I mean, if you just look outside, go to the parks or something, record homelessness around. Nobody can afford homes. Nobody. So this is our only last bastion of hope. Mark Carney. I just said Mark Carney. Pierre Poilievre. Mark Carney is not our hope. I think Pierre Poilievre is. He hits Parliament Hill today ahead of Monday's return. Their summer vacation is over. They'll be back to work, and we're going to see this guy roasting Mark Carney in the Parliament every day from now on, and it'll be great. He did a good job. Of course, there was many famous clips about Pierre Poilievre completely destroying Justin Trudeau. So here's literally this talking about countries, the G7, the growth rate, the unemployment rate, all the promises made by Mark Carney were not kept. So, yeah. We're on the way back up already. See, this is why... Was it in Sonic that I just did this? Yeah. I put this order here so that we could bounce up. You're welcome. I saved the market. That's how you do it. And then you fluke them by just canceling your order, and then it will drop again. That's just how it works. It's fine, though. 115,427. Yeah. Okay, I've been streaming for too long. But anyways, nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. I'm really happy about the polka dot thing. We're all looking forward to Wednesday next week. I'll be live tomorrow covering whatever we got to cover. I'm sure Trump will make a funny tweet out there. Tuesday I will not be live, but Wednesday I will be, and we'll talk about all this stuff over here as well. The projections, the interest rate decision, and the press conference, Jerome Powell's speech. We are indeed expecting the rate cut here. So let's hope Powell delivers, but we'll talk more about that tomorrow, like I said. Alright, cool, great. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe. Yeah, nothing much else to expect for Monday, really. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Have a good night. Bye.